Hello, welcome to this short webinar on social media and app strategies for administrators. My name is Jay Smith with Alliance Investigation Group. Before we get started, a disclaimer. I am not an attorney, and Alliance Investigation Group does not provide legal counsel. The following slides are informational only and should not be construed as legal advice. A licensed attorney should be consulted for legal advice. I'm not going to go through my credentials in the interest of time, but did feel it was important for you to know that I've been working in digital media for over a decade. I'm a licensed computer forensic analyst as well as a professional investigator in the state of Kentucky. I know as administrators you're incredibly busy, so I'm going to try and keep each section as succinct as possible. For any clarifications or a deeper dive for your staff, we're always available. Today, we're going to discuss a little bit about data permanence, proactive communication, what to do when you hear "I've been hacked," evidence collection, and uncovering hidden services. When it comes to the permanence of data, the only safe assumption is that everything you share or post is permanent and discoverable. Apps that claim to be temporary, such as Snapchat, are only temporary on the device. They still maintain all posts on their servers for set periods of times. Anybody who receives communications from you can record it via screenshot or video, and those recordings can be validated against provider server logs. Despite what we may hear in the press, social media companies are very responsive to court orders and legal hold requests. There are many ways to effectively communicate with kids regarding online safety, sharing, and bullying. The items that follow are only based on our experience and provide options for educators and parents. That's not to say anything we don't speak of is not effective. So when it comes to the idea of anonymity online, your ability to remain hidden only exists to the extent to which you need to be discovered. Oftentimes when speaking with younger people, they've always got an answer of how they would remain hidden, whether it's using Tor or a burner account. But the fact remains that professional hackers and nation-state actors are uncovered all the time. And these are people with a lot of funding, a lot of training, who have been doing this a very long time. I like to tell the analogy, or at least share the story of the movie of War Games back in the 80s. In that movie, a kid hacks into his school's computer system to change a grade, and nobody notices or even cares. That same kid who's feeling his intelligence accidentally hacks into NORAD and almost causes World War III, and they find him almost immediately. So when it comes to the idea of anonymous accounts, there is plenty of information about who you really are that is readily available if your activities rise to the level that a subpoena or court order is issued or an investigator is hired. Causing significant emotional, financial, or physical harm to somebody that prompts them to seek legal help is likely to result in this happening. And as I noted before, social media companies will share your information with a court order very quickly. I mentioned a slide ago about burner text numbers. Most people who use these services reuse these numbers somewhere online. Legal and professional investigators employ tools to find any other instances of those numbers being used online. In the most extreme cases, the non-fixed VoIP carriers who own and issue these masking numbers can be compelled to produce the actual cell subscriber. If you send a message through your phone, regardless of what number pops up on the other side, it's still going through your cellular account. When you hear "I've been hacked," that is a very traumatic situation, particularly for teenagers. Whether it's an account takeover or a fake account posting in their name, the same methods can help. We'll cover the best method that we think for evidence collection in a little bit. The key in this situation, as with most, is to remain calm and be methodical about how to resolve either a takeover or a fake account. Anybody who's experiencing this should be encouraged prior to the event to be sure to let people know what's going on. trying to handle this on your own, whether out of embarrassment or shame or fear of getting in trouble, is a recipe for not successfully finishing this. Take and retain screenshots. Report the incident to the platform, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Report it to their security team as abuse immediately. And follow up with them daily until they take that account down. Finally, and probably most importantly, do not engage with that account. That is probably the one way to keep it going. So password management software is a very important tool to avoid account takeovers, because reusing passwords on multiple platforms is pretty much the way that most accounts get taken over. When people mention they've been hacked, what they really are saying is their password was figured out or was part of a breach. Should somebody gain access to your Google or iCloud account, they can remain persistent in your accounts indefinitely by cloning your devices as you change things around. They can follow you around in the physical world too. For those who use Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter to log into other social media accounts, this can also be problematic. When it comes to dealing with a social media platform before you get to the point of a legal order, we have found it particularly helpful to employ the parental tactic with these sites and let them know that a minor is involved. When that is the case, they are generally a lot faster to respond to fake account or abusive account reports. People will often ask us which password manager we suggest. We don't really have a favorite, and we feel that any password management software is 1,000 times better than none at all. We have found that Dashlane and Bitwarden, pictured on the screen, those apps are very user-friendly for beginners. So before we get to the final section, we wanted to take a moment to discuss evidence collection. If someone is experiencing harassment, the sooner they begin documenting the abuse, the more robust their case is going to be if they need legal intervention or to convince a platform to do something about it. We advise by no later than the third malicious message, begin capturing screenshots and keeping a physical index of the screenshots in a offline notebook. You'll see on the screen here an app called Hunchly Mobile. This is made by Justin Seitz, a cybersecurity professional who also creates online tools for investigators. This app is free, and it is one of the best we have found for evidence collection, where you can bundle it all up and email it directly to an investigator, an attorney, or law enforcement. Again, the app is free, and Justin assured me himself it would always be free. And I'm not saying you have to use Hunchly. Even simple screenshots with an offline notebook is 100 times better than nothing. The great thing about that app is it allows you to email everything at once in a zip folder to anybody else. But when it comes to evidence, begin keeping screenshots no later than the third message. That's just our guidance. Document every screenshot in a physical notebook with the date and time, the platform, the username of who sent it, and any other notes that are pertinent. That way, when you need to engage an attorney or law enforcement, having all of this evidence in an organized manner can save you a lot of time in getting resolution. And when it comes to harassment, even a day of saved time can make a big difference. Finally, I wanted to talk a moment about hidden apps and sharing. First, with hidden apps, when it comes to these apps, what like that calculator app on the left there, what it really is it's a chat social media app, but it disguises itself as a calculator, and you have to key in a certain number string in order to unlock the chatting app. And this is something that people use to subvert parental oversight and send messages and pictures that they normally would not be allowed to. This list provides probably the best way to look through a device and find hidden apps. Nested folders. Be sure when you're looking at nested folders, and this is where you hold down on an app and put it over top of another one, If you go into the nested folder and swipe all the way over, you'll often see where somebody has hidden an app several layers deep. You can also go into the settings of the mobile device and see a full list of all apps on the device, because sometimes you're able to turn off the visibility of an app on the main screens and even in the folders. We also take a look at permissions. So if you go into the settings on a mobile device, you can see which apps have access to camera and voice. A calculator app that is a legit calculator probably doesn't need access to your voice or your camera. Very important is speak with your teen. Understanding the proper use of social media and sharing is got to be a partnership. If it's adversarial, then it's just a war of escalation, and they're looking for ways to defeat the controls you put in place. There is a very good list of known hidden apps on smartsocial.com. I do want to share one remote possibility, but it has happened. So when it comes to sharing possibly illicit pictures, what we have seen, not very often, but it has happened, is one child will be charged with sharing the pictures of another child that are illicit in nature. The problem there lies with the child who took the picture. If they took it and shared it, they have actually produced that content. So distributing the content is a crime. Production and distribution is an even more egregious crime in the eyes of the law. So it's very important that teenagers understand that creating that content, if somebody were to share it without your permission, you could end up in big trouble too. So I want to thank you for your time. If you need any more information, you would like to schedule us to speak with a group of parents or students at your school, you can reach me through Crystal Carter at JCPS or email me directly. That's j@allianceinvestigationgroup.com. Again, thank you for your time.